Hello and welcome today to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski, and on this podcast, I find ways to help you grow in your life and in your business that you can take and apply to get results. Listen, if you grow in your life, in your mindset, it affects business results. It affects the cash flow that comes in. If you increase the cash flow in your business, it changes every aspect of your life, what you can do, what you can accomplish, your influence, and all of that. Now, today, what I want to talk to you about is sales. And getting sales, making more money, closing deals. But I want to talk to you about it from a perspective that is not very common with a lot of people. And I want to talk about sales combined with integrity. How to close a massive amount of sales and yet not lose your integrity, not lose your morals, not lose your values in that. I know that there's a lot of people that listen to this, that one of the biggest reasons why they aren't successful with sales is because the way that they've been taught sales and the way that they've seen sales has been from a non-integrous standpoint. Slimy, scammy, used car salesman type stuff that it works. It does. And I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but there's actually a better way to do it. There's actually a way better way to close sales, and that's with integrity, with honesty, with morals. Being authentic, being true, being a real person that people can trust, and not just appearing to be trustworthy to close a deal. Not just doing something with one hand and then doing a sleight of hand with another just to get the sale. That's just as slimy. And I see it so often. And even well-meaning people that have integrity still fall to the temptation of checking their morals and their integrity at the door to close more deals. And they do this on a regular basis. And what happens is then when people get started, maybe that are like you listening to this, or maybe you're a sales professional that's listening to this and you want to learn a different way to do it, compare with what you already have. If you're listening to this and you are a sales professional, you're going to hear some things that go against what you've been taught, and it might actually trigger you to think about some things. But I'm going to challenge you with this, that if you're somebody that is doing sales from a place, maybe checking some of your morals at the door a little bit. And by the way, what you do is your choice, okay? I'm not here to say that you need to stop doing what you're doing. I just want you to consider a different lens to this. What I've seen more often than not, especially with people that everything else is integrous and moral in their life, when they're in sales and they lower their integrity to get more money, is it almost always comes from a place of fear that if they don't do that, they won't make the amount of money that they know is possible, or that if they don't do that, they will actually lose money. That if they have a high paycheck, maybe 6-7 figures, that adding integrity to it will actually lower their sales. Now, that could be true if you don't look at the big picture as a whole and all you're focused on is how can I make money? How can I get sales? How can I make the next money? And listen, there's a lot of people out there that are doing sales training, doing marketing training, that all they teach is just get the money, get the money, get the money. And that's good. And they say do it at all costs. It doesn't matter what you do. If you hurt people along the way, that's collateral damage. Personally, I am not okay with that. And those that listen to my podcast as well, I don't think are okay with it as well. Here's the deal as well. I want to add to this. My background in sales is I've done the slimy, the scammy, the not so good stuff when I was doing stuff with affiliate marketing, stuff in network marketing and things like that. And so I know, I've heard it all. I've listened to all the trainers, all the coaches, all the people that teach on sales. And the ones that I really resonate with are the ones that come at it from the perspective of you can't check your morals and integrity at the door just to get a sale. And they actually look at sales like a vehicle to help make the world a better place. And that's a paradigm shift for some people. That's a paradigm shift for both sides of the coin, so to speak, on this. You got the one side of the coin, they don't want to be scammy, salesy, and they're not getting sales. And then you got the other side that is, they'll do whatever it takes. They're afraid of, if they don't do that, they're going to lose out. Those are the two sides of the same coin. And this is a message for pretty much everybody that listens to my podcast. No matter what you do, you are in sales. No matter what it is, you're always selling constantly to somebody. Whether you're talking with your kids, with your spouse, with your family, if you're leading somebody in a business, like you have a team under you, you're selling them on following your ideas. If you are lower down in a company, you're selling those above you to buy into your ideas. We're constantly selling. And even if you don't think you're selling, even just a phone call to a friend to tell them about, your favorite TV show, that's sales. Because you're selling them on giving up at least an hour or two of their life to watch a TV show on Netflix, okay? And there's so many different examples of this. Even while you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm selling you on listening to the end of it. Okay? And I want to encourage you, even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, at least listen to the whole thing. Check out some of the other episodes that I have on this podcast. They work together, and my goal is I want to help 100,000 people make $1 million in a business. That's 100,000 individuals that own a business that makes at least $1 million. And so that's a big goal. For me to do that, I have to teach them how to get $1 million. Okay? And I know as a fact that having integrity in sales will close far more sales than not. You will be exponentially more successful at sales by combining confidence, true confidence. And even if you don't have confidence, you can borrow confidence from other areas and use it. And I'll talk about that a little bit on this as well. And integrity together. Confidence and integrity closes deals more often than not. Listen, you can build a company and a business and a paycheck on slimy sales enough to pay the bills for a little while. But you can't build a sustainable legacy for yourself on that at all. And I've heard the best sales guys in the industry say this, but a lot of people don't catch on to it. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually taking this one little piece of integrity combined with confidence and honing in on it, because when I've talked to some of the people in the Grow Your Life community on Facebook, which is a Facebook community of people that listen to my podcast and watch my videos every day, they have the same kind of questions. And these are a lot of the same questions that I had when I got exposed to sales, when I discovered about sales and marketing. And I was like, okay, I can make millions of dollars with sales, but I don't want to do it in a way that hurts anybody. And often people think that those two things are autonomous from each other, that they're separated, that they can't work hand in hand, that when you're closing a sale, that you have to also do whatever it takes, and sometimes people get hurt. Or you have to be somebody you're not. Listen. The best salesperson that you can be right now listening to this is you and nobody else but you. If you're trying to be a copycat of somebody else in sales and you failed, it's because you're not being yourself. Okay? And listen, I'm not opposed to sales training. I'm not opposed to scripts, sales scripts. But they are a guideline, not the law. And I think where a lot of people miss it is they treat that stuff like it's the law, and they pervert the truth of their identity in a sales interaction into what they think needs to get the sale. When sales really is about purely, how can I help another person get what they want? You see, a lot of people think that sales is, how can I get what I want? How can I get money in my bank account to pay my bills? And they operate from this place of, if I don't close this sale, then I won't have this. And it's a defense mechanism. It's a defensive place. Instead of being on the offensive, instead of realizing that you don't have to be that way, that you could just be yourself. And by being yourself, you can help somebody else. You know, did you know that if you have something that can help another person, that can make the world a better place, that can improve their quality of life, that can improve their health, that can save them money, that can make them money, that can change their life, and you allow your fear of getting the sale or your fear of what are they going to think about me dictate your decisions, you're actually doing that person that you can help a disservice. Meaning, for example, if I know this about sales and I don't share it with you on this podcast, I'm actually doing my listeners a disservice, because I know that I can help them with this. I know that I can help you with this. And it's about coming from a place of honor and integrity and walking in confidence in the sales process and speaking as a powerful person. Okay? And here's the deal. This is where it comes from, is you need to know more about the person that you're closing the sale with than they even know about you. See, a lot of times when people are in sales, they're trying to tell people about what they can do for somebody else instead of asking questions, instead of finding out information. It's not about controlling the conversation either. It's about truly, honestly knowing what makes this person tick. What are their needs? What are their goals? What have they tried before? What hasn't worked? And then you ask yourself this internal question: does anything that I can offer them, can it help them move forward in their life? And if you answer yes, they're a closable person. Okay? But the close has to be done with integrity, by building trust, not being slimy, not just getting to know them just so you can close the deal, not just learning about them so that you can get something out of it. That's a form of using people, and it's a form of, it's abusing people to do that, to only do that just to get something out of it, if that's your only goal. And it's not authentic if you are only doing that just to get something. Now, at the same time, if somebody's given you their goals, you know what their goals are, you know what's going to help them get to where they want to go, you know that if they buy not only this item, but those other 3 items, is going to help them get their goal, then you actually owe it to them to be an excellent salesperson, to sell excellently, and to bring your best foot forward in sales. And you do this by being yourself, by being authentic, by using your strengths and doubling down on those strengths and focusing on how can I help serve this person today. And in sales, it's not how can they serve me by giving me money, but how can I serve them, to help take them from where they are when they first met me to upgrade them to a higher level, closer to where they want to be. And that's the sales process. That's what closing a sale is. And so you get somebody from where they are to where they want to be, and that's when you close them. But in that, you have to build trust and integrity. And that comes from this. It's not just, I personally have a problem with just saying things just to get people to take action and lying to people just to close a deal. And yet it works. It constantly works. It does. And so I'm not going to say that it doesn't work, because it does work. It's just for myself, for my integrity, I'm not okay with that myself. There's a much better way to do it. Because what happens is if you check your morals at the door enough times, people start to catch on. They start to realize that, maybe what they said wasn't genuine, and so that person won't refer business to you and won't come back later. Did you know? Let me give you a statistic here. It is, I think it's almost like 90% easier to close somebody a second time, or it's 9 times easier to close somebody on a second sale that's already bought from you than to get the initial sale. Okay? And so what that shows us is mathematically that if you can use integrity in your sales process and stay above board in that the person that you're selling to, that you're helping, if you can help them get their goals, and it might be as simple as something that's free that you offer them that's going to help them. I'll talk about that in a second. If you can help them get to their goal in some form or another, that person is 9-10 times more likely to come back a second time, to buy from you a second time and a third time and a fourth time, because they realize, listen, every time I buy from, let's say your name's Joe, every time I buy from Joe, I get way more results than when I buy from anybody else. So I'm just going to stop buying from anybody but Joe because his integrity is there. And you're able to build upon that, and it compounds over time with referrals, with repeat business, with people coming back and buying second products from you. But you have to get it out of your head that you need to close the sale. If you are closing sales purely just because you need to, you're going to perform as a salesperson. That's why I said you need to be an excellent salesperson. You're going to be a less than excellent salesperson and actually turn people off if you need to sell them. If you need to. And this is a paradigm shift for a lot of people, because I know that there's those of you that are listening to this, and I've been there myself, where if I don't close a deal today, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. How do you go from, if I'm not able to close a deal today, I'm not going to pay my rent, and do so without needing the sale? Because obviously you need the sale, otherwise you're not going to pay your rent. That's a hard thing for people to grasp. It's two entirely opposing schools of thought, and this is why a lot of people struggle to break through in the sales process. Is this right here, okay? And this is where they end up checking their morals at the door. They end up doing things that they wouldn't normally do just to get the sale. And you have to make a decision for yourself that this is the decision, is no matter what your situation is, whether you're going to struggle to pay rent, whether rent is going to be hard, if you don't close the sale or not, that might be true. That might be true. Okay? But if you go into the sales interaction, you decide before the sales interaction, before you even start it, that I don't need this sale. And how do you do that when you're somebody that needs the money? You remind yourself of this. If I don't get this sale, I can get another sale. And I can get another sale. And another sale. And over time, realize that you're not putting all your eggs in just one sale, one basket. That every sale for you, especially starting out, is a learning experience. It's a learning process for you to learn how to close deals. And the more deals you do, man, the first deals I did years ago, I bombed them so bad. And yet I remember some of the early deals that I did as well, that I didn't need the money, I did great. And I always wondered, okay, when I need the money, why do I, for lack of a better word, suck at selling? Why do I suck at selling when I need the money? But I'm confident when I don't need the money. And I began to ask myself this, and I thought about it. I thought, what if I could put myself into the mental place of somebody that doesn't need the money? And so what I decided to do was, in every sales interaction, I would borrow confidence from another area of life that I was confident in at that time. Maybe it was, it could be sports for people, gym. It could be your skills with accounting, being a parent, being a friend. This is one that I really did a lot. I borrowed from confidence with friends. And what I would do is, in every sales interaction, I would imagine, this is one of the best ones, in fact, for you, is to do this, is to borrow confidence from something that you're comfortable with. And for me, I could sell my friends on anything all day long, as long as they weren't giving money to me. Okay? Like if they were going to spend $5,000 on a camera from Sony, the camera company, Sony, I could sell them all day on that. But when it came to like selling somebody to buy a $40 program from me, I would cave and I would have no confidence. And so I thought about it. I borrowed the confidence of an interaction with a friend with the people that I was selling to. And every person that I would sell to, I began to look at them like a longtime friend, whether we knew each other for a long time or not. When you're friends with somebody, you care about them. You truly do. You care about what's going on in their life. Yet sometimes when we are selling, all we care about is where we're at in life, what we want to get out of the equation. And that's so selfish. And actually, that's the integrity behind that is so low. And so if you can just shift your perspective forward to the person that you're talking to and think, okay, I actually care about this person right now, whether you do or not. I've even had to do this with people that I'm like, I don't really care about, I care about people, but I don't really care about them. But for the sake of serving them well, for my own integrity, for my own track record, for the fact that if they have a good experience with me, they'll refer me to other people, I put myself in the state of, okay, if my number one goal was to help this person reach their goal, how would I speak to them today? If I didn't need the money, you put yourself in this mental state. If I didn't need the money, if I didn't need to close this deal, how would I talk differently? How would I communicate differently? What would I say different? And I noticed that I was actually being two different people, whether I needed the money or not. And in that, I was actually not serving people. I was doing one thing out of fear of, if I don't close this deal, I'm going to not be able to pay my rent. And so I had to put myself in that state of mind of, okay, what if I didn't need this deal? Just try it. Just try out like putting on a new pair of glasses, okay? A new lens, like over your eyes. Think back to a sales interaction that maybe you've had in the past, okay? What if you had $1 million in the bank? How would you talk to that person differently on the phone? And I've experienced this firsthand of what it's like to not need the sale, to have plenty of money and close the sale. And I've experienced not having any money and closing the sale. And when I decided what made the shift for me to get the money and to make more results was truly like thinking in my mind, okay, if I didn't need the sale, how would I act differently? And then ask yourself, why am I acting differently because I need the sale? And you'll notice it's almost always has to do with being afraid of what they might think about you, being afraid in some area or another, being afraid that they won't understand you, some kind of fear-based thing, or being afraid that you're just not going to get the money is why. And it was every single time for me. Every single time with the people that I've coached. It was always some sort of deep, kind of real deep down there seated root of fear that I was avoiding. I was avoiding the fact that, wow, if I actually serve this person to the level I know I can, they might cancel this contract. And I was actually, with clients, I was not saying things the way that I needed to. And it wasn't giving them the best result. And I even went to some of my clients. I was like, hey, y'all, I was walking in fear. I was operating in fear. I had a relationship with these clients, which is super cool. So I was like, I'm sorry. Let's get you some better results now. And they were like, yeah, no, it's great. Because they're like, you've already gotten us such good results. You've already served us so well, Jeremiah, is what they always said, that we're excited to see what comes next with this new confidence. And so in this, I realized a lot of the people that I coached and worked with had the same thing. I talked to a lady the other day. She has a network marketing business. She is a bold person, and yet she's scared to say the things out of her mouth that her mind thinks. She's scared to say the things that everybody else is thinking that nobody wants to say because she's worried what other people will do, and it affects her sales situations. That fear. And if you can just learn to be yourself in the sales interaction, be authentic, not check your integrity at the door, not lose your morals. Realize this, that you might not close that deal and it's okay. This is the big part about it. It's like King Arthur. I don't know if you know the legend of King Arthur. There's the sword and the stone. And when the sword was in the stone, all the great people tried to pull the sword out of the stone, the knights and all of that, and they used massive amounts of strength. But when the king came in, he pulled it out. Arthur pulled it right out, because that sword that was in the stone, it was like his purity of heart allowed it to be pulled out. And I found a parallel of that story of King Arthur in sales, in closing deals. A lot of people are trying to pull the sword out of the stone, and they're trying so hard because they're like, if only I can do that, then I'll get this, and they never do. But when you're that person that, listen, you don't need to, but you want to help somebody. You want to help them get their goals. You want to help them reach their goals. And your entire reason for being in a sales conversation with anybody is to help them reach their goals and to get to a better place. And in your mind, it has nothing to do with getting money. You'll close far more sales. Now listen, I'm not talking about giving away everything for free. I'm not talking about not caring about the money so you just don't ask for the money. That's the same side of the bad coin of lack of integrity. And you're doing yourself and those that you're selling to a disservice by not selling to them. Because what if the thing that you're selling to them will help them change their life? And you owe it to them to sell. And if you sell, you can reach more people. Because then you have money, you can invest in advertising, you can hire more people, you can do a lot more. But so often, people are just, they're afraid of either, if I don't do whatever I'm doing that gets the sale, I'm going to not make money. And so they do that. Or they're afraid of looking bad to other people. They're afraid of pissing people off. They're afraid of upsetting people. They're afraid of rubbing people the wrong way. And if you're somebody who's afraid of rubbing people the wrong way, you got to check that fear at the door. You have to leave that fear behind. Listen, not everybody's going to like you, and you can't be all things to all people. You have to be okay with people bad-mouthing you, lying, saying things, and all of that. You have to be okay with that for the sake of being yourself. Because if you know that if you're being true and authentic, you have your morals in check, you have integrity, your ethics, you're coming from a place of goodness, it doesn't matter how they're going to react to you. And I know sometimes that's hard to hear because, it does matter. Like we don't want to hurt people. We don't want to harm anybody. But if you're coming from a place of goodness to help somebody, eventually it's going to be for the better for them too. And you got to ask yourself, you got to self-evaluate, is what I'm doing coming from a place of how can I serve myself or how can I help somebody else? You see, to do sales with integrity and to walk in confidence, closing the deal has to be the byproduct, the side effect, the overflow of closing the deal. Your first goal is, how can I serve somebody? How can I help them get what they want? How can I help them and go above and beyond to help this person get their goals? And if you do this, closing sales is a lot easier. Now, I did a podcast episode. It was episode number 2 on the podcast, on this podcast. I'm not going to repeat the whole episode here because it's more of a technical how to close sales, like a script type of a thing that you can take and apply. But if you come from this place of integrity and confidence and not worrying what other people think, not letting other people's opinions validate or invalidate you, and then you apply this framework of closing that's in episode 2, it's how to close anyone in sales with the words that you say. You can close anybody. And what that is this, it's a process of you impart vision and certainty of what it's like to be your customer to the person that you're selling to. And so in sales, once you have your positioning right, now it comes time to go to work. And you got to go to work. You got to do the work. You got to do the hard work. But the more you do it over time, it becomes easy work and it becomes fun work. And in that, how do you do that? The words that you say, the only reason people don't buy from you is because they don't trust you. That's it. Once they trust you, they'll buy from you. If they're the right customer, you know? It's not like you're going to sell hair care products to somebody who's bald. But if you can impart vision of what it's like to be your customer, meaning in their mind's eye, in the person that you're selling to, remember, we're coming from a place of, how can I help this other person get what they want? Stop worrying about getting the sale yourself. It's not helping you. Worry and anxiety and stress aren't helping you. And so if you can come from a place of integrity and honor and just true human compassion to help another human being, then from that place, what you want to do is this: to help get somebody from where they are to where they want to be, you have to cast vision. You have to speak to, that's why you got to get to know them. That's why you have to get to know what they like, what they're interested in. Find out information about, where they came from, what are their interests, their family, what they do for a living, what they like to do for fun. Okay? And then in that, you don't use that just to close the sale. It's actually builds a framework for you of how can I help this person get their goals. And you want them to tell you what their goals are as it relates to what you can offer. And what will happen is you'll end up repeating back to them what they told you from a perspective of bolting vision of, okay, this is their goal. Let's show them in their mind's eye with the words that you say what being a customer of yours, buying from you, will be like and how it will help bridge the gap and get them closer to their goal. And you do that by imparting certainty, by casting vision of what it's like to be a customer so that in their mind's eye, they can see themselves using your product, so that they can see themselves being your customer, so that they can see themselves after they've bought from you. And if somebody can see themselves being your customer and you build trust in you, your product, your company with that person and they're closable, and you come at it from this place of how can I help this person get their goals, you can close anybody who's closable on anything. And they'll come back as a repeat customer. Because you didn't do it with manipulation. Because you didn't do it with how can I just get what I want. But you made the most important thing, how can I help that other person get what they want. Okay? And so that's what this episode is. If you haven't listened to episode number 2 of the podcast, go listen to it. I walk you through, it's one of the earliest episodes I did on this podcast. I walk you through the process of how you cast vision, how you impart that vision, that certainty of being your customer, and increase that certainty in your product, your company, yourself, what you have to offer to them. And it'll help you. You can build a script even with that. And if you need some more help, if you have more questions related to sales, if you want some coaching on this, there's 2 ways that you can get coaching with me. First one is free, and the second one's free. Okay? And then I have paid consulting and coaching and courses after that. But you can actually get a lot more out of just these free ones initially, especially if you're starting out, just found this podcast. Join the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook. There's over 1,000 people in there just like yourself that are working on growing as salespeople, as business owners, in a variety of industries. You'll be able to network with people, ask questions. You'll even be able to ask the stupid, silly questions that maybe you never thought to ask anybody. And you'll be able to help other people as well. You'll be able to make some good connections in there. And if you want to win free coaching with me, normally when I do coaching, it's $1,500 an hour to coach with me, okay? But I'm giving away a free half hour of coaching. It's an actual coaching session where we go through your goals, where we go through what you're trying to accomplish, where we make an action plan for you to get to the next level. It's not a sales pitch for higher coaching. It's a full coaching session where we prepare ahead of time, and I get on the phone with you for 30 minutes and coach you through that with an action plan that you can apply to get results. And you can win that by going to my Instagram, leaving hashtag Grow Your Life in the comments on my Instagram within the first 10 minutes of me posting, or on any post this week that I've posted over the week. You'll see the post on my Instagram with the podcast episodes. You'll see this episode, and then you'll see the next one. Inside that week, I pick one person every single Sunday on my Instagram story that leaves in the comments hashtag Grow Your Life to win free coaching with me. And I also reach out to people that leave hashtag Grow Your Life and just start a conversation. Just see, hey, how can I help you? Where you at? And talk about it. And what I want to do is I do that because I want to help direct people to which podcast episodes can help them the most. Or if I haven't made a podcast episode on a specific topic, or if I haven't done a video on my Instagram TV or my Facebook, the answers and the questions that I get from people help me make my content. So it helps me by helping you in that. You can win the free coaching by leaving hashtag Grow Your Life in the comments on Instagram this week. Just go do it. Look me up on Instagram and find the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook. I believe in you, and I know that you can be successful in sales and closing deals. And you don't have to check your integrity and your morals at the door, that you can be confident, that you can be crazy successful and close deals on a high level. Multi-million-dollar deals. Billions of dollars. I mean, unlimited, literally. And you'll make more by doing it with integrity. And I'm so thankful that there's people that are listening to this podcast. We're building a group of people that are just like you, that want to make money in a business, grow in their life, grow in their business. And I know that's possible because you've made it all the way through this episode. You've shown me just by listening to this, just by listening to what I'm saying right now, 43 minutes and 58 seconds into the podcast, that you're somebody that is in the top 1% to 2% of people that are going to be successful, because not everybody got to this far in the podcast, but you're somebody that's like, I want more. I want more. I want the higher level. I want the next level. I want the greatness that I know is prepared for me, that I know that I'm supposed to walk into, that I know is possible for me. You can do it. I believe in you. Grow your life, and we'll talk soon.